Mydworth Mysteries, Episode 8, Secrets of the Cote d'Azur, written by Matthew Costello and Neil Richards, narrated by Nathaniel Parker.
Chapter 1. A Sunset to Remember. Percy Porter climbed down onto the dusty platform of Cannes train station and stepped away from the hurrying crowds. He watched as station staff, busy with their flags and whistles, readied the train for its departure. He tilted his white Panama hat against the last of the evening sun, then leaned on his Malacca cane, hand firm on the silver grip. Motionless, he took in every last detail of this wondrous evening. The distant, snow-capped Alps, the black and white smoke billowing from the engine, the chattering crowds, the cooking aromas wafting up from the town, mixing with the snatches of cigar smoke, the reddening sky to the west, and the rich blue above. What bliss, he thought. Then, as the train pulled away, steam puffing, wheels screeching, he turned and headed down into the maze of streets that led to the sea, the Croisette, and his hotel. Why did I never realize that life could be like this? He thought, as he ambled through the bustling streets, the warm evening air rich with smells, sights, and sounds. Why in my 50 years on this earth have I never known what it is to feel truly happy? Till now. Of course, he knew the answer to that question. One word, and he smiled as he said it softly to himself. Simone. He realized that his whole existence could be defined as life before Simone and now life with Simone. Before she'd entered his world, his days in England had been all grey, cloudy skies, damp cobbled streets, and bitter winds. Noisy factories, bottling plants, smoke-filled boardrooms, bankers' drafts, industrial disputes. Endless tins of tomato soup, egg and cress sandwiches, countless mugs of stewed tea. More like a prison than a life. And after his day of work, his evenings and weekends had been spent in silent suppers with his wife Alice, in the gloomy drawing-room of Nantwich Hall, the monotony broken only by occasional dull dinners with half the mayors of the northwest of England and their grim spouses, or polite afternoon teas with bland vicars, dim-witted aristocrats, and visits from Alice's snooty in-laws from the home counties, always moaning, criticising, complaining about something, anything. What a fool he had been to live that life, when this life was so readily available to be lived. Life with Simone. A joyous and dreamlike existence in which the weather was so unbelievably pleasant, the food so much tastier, the colours brighter, the people charming, and every day was an impossibly fresh, new adventure. The beautiful Mediterranean, always, quite simply, stunning. He strolled now past familiar cafes and shops, recognizing waiters and regulars, exchanging cheery bonsoir and monsieur. Finally, he reached the Croisette, the long tree-lined avenue that ran the length of the curved Cannes Bay. He paused, tipped his hat, and smiled at a well-dressed young couple, their arms intertwined, laughing, as if recognizing like souls, also under the spell of this wondrous place. The couple smiled back, and he knew that they were in love, and he guessed that they could, through some lover's instinct, see that he, too, was truly, madly in love. In love with Simone. Just the thought of her dizzying. In love with her brown eyes, her knowing smile, her beautiful, soft skin, her boundless energy, her crazy ideas, her serious thoughts, her gentle soul, her sinuous dancing, sublime singing, and, always, those brown eyes gazing into his. He looked down now along the Croisette, positively filled with elegant couples promenading before dinner. White horse-drawn coaches passed back and forth, the clomping of hooves sounding rhythmic, with nearby palm trees swaying gently. The sea had now turned a luminous green, and to the west, over the Estral Mountains, the setting sun made the red earth there seem to blaze with colour, as if alive. He looked east, down the Croisette, past his own hotel, the Carlton. If the Pointe Croisette and the harbour weren't in the way, he fancied he just might be able to see all the way down the coast to lovely Antibes, where, even now, Simone was surely lying on her silk-draped bed, sleeping gently, resting before dinner. He smiled to himself, remembering that sweetly scented apartment from just an hour ago, that afternoon warm bed. Then, alarmingly for a second, a harsh voice, unbidden. For a moment, he thought it was the brittle tones of his wife, Alice, her sharp voice a dagger in his heart. He spun round, fearful that she might actually be there, but placed his hand on his chest in relief as he saw a bickering English couple march past, the husband staring miserably at the pavement, the line of children behind them straight-backed on best behaviour. He laughed to himself again. How could it possibly be Alice? Alice wasn't due to come to the Riviera for another month. No need to fear her appearance yet. Yes, plenty of time to work out an amicable solution to this miraculous about-turn his life appeared to have taken. I must just take some time to figure out how to handle that, he thought. But, feeling relieved that that moment hadn't yet come, he again looked down the promenade at the long line of elegant white stuccoed hotels. Time for a sundowner, he thought. And where better than the rooftop bar of that smart new hotel, the Martinez? Yes, it was pricey, extremely pricey, but, as Percy now knew, because darling Simone kept telling him, money is there to be spent, to be enjoyed, mon chéri. Off he strolled towards the dramatic Martinez Hotel, facing the now darkened Med, wondering which of their new-fangled cocktails he should try this evening, and already contemplating whether to have the salt-baked bass or the lobster for dinner. 3 hours later, and feeling rather tipsy, though who cares, he spun through the revolving doors of his hotel, the Carlton, twice round once more for fun, and crossed the empty marble-floored vestibule to reception. Monsieur Porteur, bonsoir, said the night receptionist. Mon cher Gaston, my old friend, my rock of ages, said Percy, stepping forward and leaning unsteadily against the reception, Panama under one arm. He beamed for a few seconds at the young man in the perfect suit, his lapel badge shining. Wasn't it a beautiful sunset? I'm sure it was, sir, said Gaston. I hope sir has passed a pleasant day. Oh, much more than pleasant, said Percy. He stepped back and did a full twirl, a pirouette, just like the one he had done this morning for Simone on the beach in Antibes. My entire day was delightful, delicious, superb, in fact, all of the above. I am very happy for you, sir, said Gaston, and Percy saw his smile. Always fun to try and get these young fellas to come out of their shells, he thought. Your key, sir? Key, said Percy. But Gaston, the night is yet young. Then he realized his head was beginning to swim a little. The last cognac, perhaps? A bit trop? The thought of his bed growing more attractive by the second. He swayed slightly as Gaston handed him his room key, on a giant tassel, bigger than the ones on the curtains at Nantwich Hall. Oh, I nearly forgot, said Gaston. There is mail for you, sir. Percy frowned as he saw the receptionist retrieve a large brown envelope from the pigeonholes behind him